Hello, everybody, um, and welcome everybody to this new streaming session or painting session. And I don't know if you can see me well, so this is the time when we are verifying everything. So it's obviously a bit of lag, maybe around uh, 30 seconds. So we are going to improvise. Sorry for the mistakes, because I am not really prepared for this kind of streaming sessions. When I paint for myself, it's pure enjoy. But if you have to take care about the OBS stuff and recording stuff and the chat and all these things and the audio setup and video cam, it's a bit complex. It's not for the people who are not willing to work. But we are really artistic and creative people. So welcome everybody to this stream. First of all, I want to explain. If the sound and video is okay, please thumbs up to verify the sound and the video is okay. So I see the chat and it's perfect. And there is no music in the background because I have to look for a good source to play music or this kind of things in the background if you want. I usually don't play with music, but instead I use the TV as a background. I don't pay attention to the content of TV. But in this case, it's obviously not needed because we are living really hard times. And I don't want to be focused this about an hour. This stream is going to be an hour. And I don't want to be focused on the pandemic situation. So I'm not going to talk a lot about the viruses and situation, but I want to I see a nice comment in the chat. But I want you to be relaxed. And what is more relaxing than nature? Nature, the clouds and the sky and the grass and the trees and the beautiful of color that bring us a lot of satisfaction when we see the nature. And we value this nowadays more than ever because we cannot have the nature available right now. So I think this stream is only just to play a bit, and like being here with it's my wife commenting, so please say hello to her. Maybe someday he will be here painting too. I don't know. Let's go with it, because obviously this is like be sitting here with me, and I'm going to share my screen like this. I did another stream session just showing the digital atelier pack, if I remember well. It was in 2019. I was showing the watercolor brushes in digital atelier. I did another stream session showing the digital atelier brushes, but it was in my own channel, in Ramon Miranda YouTube channel, where I was playing with pastels. And now it's obviously I'm going to play with oil painting, or at least the feeling of oil painting. If you were watching the Krita channel, you have seen this video. It was talking about the new changes on the RGBA brushes, which is I think a really interesting feature. So do you want to see how these brushes can work? Because I can show you in a moment. The links to download the development releases are in the description of this video, of that video showing on the screen. It was a good experience to test all the development releases, because you can understand better what is the hard work of a programmer. Like here, for example, if you go, not here, if you go to the Krita artist thread about this, you can see a lot of mathematical stuff, and this is what produced the beautiful results in brushstrokes. So we are combining it together. Let's go with the painting then. We're going to paint something like this, or something similar. I read a bit the comments. Screenshot says, people tell me the debates is too good to be made in Krita, and that kinda annoys me. I really agree that people doesn't evaluate this software in the right place. They think that this is a fancy toy tool, and it's not correct, because the results are there. Yeah, I'm going to explain the differences between the RGBA brushes, and it's really easy to understand, because when we are working with the basic brush like this, is the basic round brush. We're using the auto brush tip, but if we want to predefine, we have available a lot of different brush tips. We use only black and white info to select where the painting is available. So if I use a triangle, I get a triangle shape, and if I increase the spacing, you can see the brushstroke. Obviously, this is really easy. Okay, but there is no shading, because in the opacity is controlled by the pressure. If you go here, it's controlled by the pressure. But when you use the RGB brushes, I'm going to go for the live chat. If you go for this kind of brushes, which are available in the Digital Atelier pack or the mini bundle pack I prepare for the video, you can download it for free and experiment a lot. Okay, so because you have these brushes available, and if you have this brush, you can see I can paint, and this is opaque, and I achieve some kind of volume with this color, right? But what happens when I try to get another color? I can't, okay? Because when I develop this brush, I use the emblem. The emblem is the symbol on the upper left part of the icon, to RGB alpha. So what happens if the magic of programmers can achieve this be available to use the color? And that is what happened. So the technical explanation can be better explained in a tutorial that I'm planning and scripting, but obviously is easier showing that explaining. So if you go here and select the brush tip, you can use, of course, black and white, grayscale images, but of course you can use plenty of color, RGB color images here. And if I don't use the color but the lightness, this override the color in the brushstroke. Okay? And you can see now I can play perfectly with the kind of color that I want to simulate this 3D effect with no filters, no layer styles, no nothing, just a quick brush to be useful in your painting. Okay, and you can play a lot, but look at this. You have the contrast or the highlights cannot achieve if the contrast is too high. So I have to reduce the contrast and then increase a bit the brightness if you want to achieve the highlight effect, respecting the volume. And this way we have the texture if we apply with low pressure, and we achieve the impasto or dense painting when we use the brush this way. That is basically how we can paint with this kind of brushes. Obviously, if I go to a darker color, I need more contrast to achieve this. So I go here and I recalculate the contrast and I get more contrast this way. Yeah, it's a trick. Okay? Because the programmers know what they are doing. They are coding stuff to create this override with color. Okay? And this way you have this kind of texture to paint in your canvas. And if you have the texture, you can overlap with the grain and modulate with different colors and start to have well, maybe this kind of painting, more rough painting. But of course, you can still use all the brushes you have in your arsenal. It's available right now. You can test it. That is what the latest video is about, that you can test for yourself. And if you have installed Krita, you can download these amazing releases in development as a portable thing, and they are not interfering between them, so no problem. Okay, but they are not in the official release, the 429. Okay. Yeah, Dimitri is here. He is the coder that is building this with his Tom Schatz. If I remember well the sub name. He can explain in the chat the technical stuff, and I will be painting with this kind of brushes. But for this evening, I would like to paint something really simple. Okay, so let me, for example, just make a new document, and we start with a plain canvas. I'm reading the contents, the chat. How selected the part of the drawing? Change the position, please. If I don't answer a question here, you can just put it on the comments, and I will review personally these questions. Okay. So let's go with the painting, and as usual, I'm going to be using my Digital Atelier pack, which is in the Krita shop, but the concepts are really usable for the default brushes. For example, this oil style and looking brush, which I think is really cool. But imagine you are here right next to me. This video is not to teach you a lot of things. This video is just for being relaxing. So I would like to ask you what you do for being relaxing these days. What kind of painting do you think is better? A landscape, a portrait, watercolor, oil painting? I don't know. Let me know in the chat, in the comments. So, oh, a spoiler. I'm working on a new update of these brushes, and it's going to be really amazing. So if you want to get it, I encourage you to get the official Digital Atelier pack if you want. But this is only a suggestion, okay? If you want the oil painting or oil pastel or this kind of techniques or watercolor, this can be your choice. Okay, so in Digital Atelier, I have interesting brushes like this, which can cover a wide range. Let me just adjust this a bit. It's a wide range, and also controlling the chromacity of the area we are painting. As you can see, I have like a first layer of painting, and then I can paint over this just to get, for example, the clouds. And I can paint the bigger masses of clouds. I can start right here, over here. Let's start painting. We are not focused on the detail but the color, because when I painting for being relaxed, I don't want to be taking care of each line, each little brushstroke that I apply to my canvas. Okay, so take this as a more just like blocking stage, and I can use also these brushes. Obviously, if I see this is too dark, I can put this bit of light and then control things better. Yeah, I think it's fine. So we have the sky, and it's very dangerous to start with pure green painting the grass and this kind of stuff. Ladies, 8th yeah, 8th version. Whole conversation. I'm reading the comments. Okay, I'm going to paint for a bit of time, and then I read the comments, right? Okay, something that I do when I'm painting is just go here and go for the full palette, because when you use a palette, you don't have to be really complicating yourself. Of course, you can have this kind of arrangement. If I go here and I select, for example, to have the color palette here in the left side, and then give it a bit of space, and then adjust my workspace, I have the palette and I have the color wheel. And this is something that I use a lot, because I tend to use main color selected here, but then adjust it a bit, or warming a bit, or cooling down the color just with the color wheel. Okay, so this is because if I need to go from here to very bright, darker, not very bright, but darker green, have to go here and select the color. And usually I go here and then I get the color and then adjust a bit. It's my personal preference right now. This can be vary between the artist a lot, but as you can see, it can add a lot of interesting speed, at least for me. Okay, not too much trees in the background. So let's go to play a bit happier sky, and then I go here. You can see the color variation, okay? And one of the questions I see about these brushes is how to control this color variation. Because yeah, I'm selecting here, but for example, I want to vary this in a different way. You only have to go here to the hue to control the range. I'm controlling the hue by the pressure, okay? But if I go here, I can increase the range and you can see more purples. Yeah, I am reading the comment and I am updating the digital atelier, and you will be really happy because there is things that I can show maybe at the end of the session. I will be showing some of the new brushes. Do you think it's a good idea to make a bit of a spoiler alert? Okay. Coming back to this, you can control the hue by the pressure and the range is controlled here. If you vary a lot this, you can go here and this is controlled by the strength. If you don't combine with another value, it's really simple. Because I can go from this slightly variation to this crazy. Okay, because I'm controlling by the pressure. So if I want to create very vibrant colors here, obviously this is not going to be in the painting. Maybe yes, maybe no. I think no. But you can see the difference, okay? Then we could be merging this together and all this strength, it's just disappearing, fading on the blending, but without destroying the texture, okay? If we zoom in, you can see the result. But for now, I think I'm going to be very classical, and I'm going to the oil painting, because in Digital Atelier you have the dried brushes, mid-dry brushes. This is like simulating a bit of effect like I showed you before. But remember, in these times we didn't have this feature, so this was really trying to replicate this kind of technique. But I like this brush a lot because it gives me the possibility to combine the wet painting. For example, I'm going to paint just this one, maybe a bit lighter, and you can see how this blends. If I keep press, you can see that the color blends based on time. So how this is controlled? Well, maybe 3 seconds is too much for certain operations. So if I go to the opacity here and I go to time, I can change this from 3 seconds to 1 second. So if I start to paint here, I'm fading the color faster, okay? So let's just make this bit of abstract. I like a lot the abstract effect of painting. So you can see here they are blobs of color, and if you see that there is a lag, you can just spacing this a bit and you get a faster brush. But this brush is not to create a very strong and fast brush strokes, but more it's like stabbing the canvas. Remember, if you're asking me questions, just use the symbol, this symbol, to refer to me, and I see in this with the orange color in the live chat. Okay? So well, I'm start to see something like this, and this is really relaxing for me to paint clouds, because I can imagine a lot of things and my mind travels to another place. Because when I paint with something in mind, I paint differently. But now I am exploring and checking if I like this cloud shape, or if I need to darken this a bit and cool it a bit, desaturate it for a stormy cloud right next to the another cloud to create contrast. And of course I can make a reflection here of a lake and start to play with grains, right? Like base to create just a feel. Okay. Maybe I'm talking too much, and this has to be relaxed. Thanks, dear. You are always giving a hand. And TR is also one of the Krita developers and is doing a great job. Let's make a bit contrast here. So do you think painting clouds is relaxing? I think it's really relaxing. And I can change the brush and to see another effects. I think this is too dark. I'm going to make spring here appears. Can you see the difference between the oranges and yellow and maybe I'm going to paint the field here. And then I will be painting trees in the distance. I will be cut this a bit. Another cut. And I see trees in the distance and the clouds, and you can basically see what I'm going to paint, but I need now the strong point. Maybe I'm going to default to get more dense effect. And this will be my first layer of painting this landscape. I'm going to just reduce this a bit, make a difference, and creating some trees here. I will decide later. Half an hour. No, I'm going to just keep this. And now I'm going to blend this a bit. And now you can see how all these colors start to interact with each other's. You see the bit of turquoise here. I don't really care. I can adjust later or left it there. And of course I can change and test if I like the effect or more blending here. Maybe around this, not too much. Or I can vary, for example, imagine I want to make less scattered effect, because this is scatter a lot. So I go here and play with the scatter and reduce the strength. Can you see that? Now this scatter is less obvious and we are blending, but we are not destroying the texture. And this is what I like, the color difference and the texture difference and the grain. This kind of things. Trees. And just to paint a bit here. Also, something for me not interesting but curious is that I sing a lot when I am painting. Not like in the real performance, but like I enjoy it. Are you enjoying this live stream? I'm going to read a bit the comments. Oh my god, there is a lot of comments. Oh, gradings is oof. I need time to read this. If something is asking for the release, this is about Krita. It's using the pre-alpha based on Git and especially in DK5, but this is not the latest. The Dimitri and Sats have coded, I think the DK8 is the latest one with the neutral, because you can see if I go here, I have two values, but in the DK8 I can see three values. The neutral white or neutral point or something similar. Okay. And I can see something like this. Okay. A good practice is just to evaluate a lot what you are doing when painting. You have to be sure that you're applying things in the order you want. For example, I need a bit of content here, maybe a bit of white of clouds, and then blend this to create a more reflecting surface. But remember, reflected surfaces are darker than their original surfaces, because light is lost in the travel of being reflected and absorbed by the material. Okay, so you have something like this. Yep, what I have done. Okay, I need more leaf. Not this way. Maybe more like this, and not entirely over the surface. I like this feel, and I'm going to make a lake here, and I'm going to give a bit of light here. So I'm going to select warm color, not too much, and not this kind of brush. Maybe I disable the rotation, because the rotation was using the drawing angle to make directional, and I want to have something like this to make structural elements but with blending abilities. So it's more like this. Like building, ancient building, to give it a scale, a bit of a scale, and I'm going to 90 degrees to have just something like this, to make this kind of a trick coming from the ancient techniques zone in the Sihun forums. I remember. And this is house. Well, I like it. It looks like Alhambra. I read in the comments. No way. Alhambra is much beautiful than this. Alhambra is something gorgeous. You have to visit the Alhambra if you like the landscapes, because there is a lot of art inside the Alhambra. The plants, the geometric shapes, the entire building, and Alhambra as a city, it's Granada is one of the most beautiful places I have visited in my life. I have good memories from visiting Alhambra. And look at this. If there is people who are learning digital painting here, when you have this and you want to play with, I don't know how to say it, overlapping, okay, to create the sense of this building is in front of this mountain, and this way you create depth, okay? So maybe the mountain is right here, not too much. This is not. Yeah, something like this. Maybe some flowers. Do you like flowers? I'm going to read a bit the contents. Bum, 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 bum. Wacom is standard. Well, I'm using a Wacom because I started with Wacom, and I think they have a very, very good quality in their products, and they long for a long time. At least my old uh, graphite is still working, and the bamboo fan it's still working. So when I when I see this kind of things, I think, hmm. But yeah, I when I'm giving classes to my students, um, I talk a lot about the tablets and devices, um, referring that the important is not the tablet. They don't have to spend 3,000 euros in a tablet, man, because it takes a lot of effort to gain this money. So um, I think it's better to test first with low range, and then you decide if you like it or not. At least for me, works this way. Okay, this is a trick using the V key to create this kind of watery effect. Not too much. And then I select brighter color, but not with this brush. This kind of painting. And I need some plants here. Plants. Or maybe define the no, I'm going to define these brushes, these trees in distance. Yeah. Not this, but it's more like this. Let me check everything is correct. Streaming. Okay. No. Add saves there for raster images. I was testing the saves library, the vector saves, and I have my own conclusions that I need to refine a bit. But of course, it's not really usable for me right now, because it makes Krita unstable, at least on Windows. If you are using Linux, maybe it's different, but here with these brushes, with making the vector saves, I will refine this a bit, because maybe it needs more lines of code. Now this is too big. Obviously, in a production image, I wouldn't paint this flower by flower. I will use more refined technique for that, but I don't want to oversaturate this painting. Maybe I'm going to paint some red flowers with Spanish is amapola. Combine it, yes, something like this. Why not? Not too much. and this is too bright, and I isolate it, and I need to refine this because it's not really clear what is doing this. Maybe it's a charge, maybe just to refine this, place a bit. It's as simple like this. Maybe I'm going to stain the plants around the lake. I need to be careful with the scale. It's too bright. Bit darker. And copy the color. Well, it's beautiful, nothing special, of course. And now I'm going to read the comments with your first impression about this kind of painting session for being relaxed. I'm thinking to make just like some kind of a tour, visiting schools and showing the features of Krita to make things easier for people that is a student, not fine arts, or maybe fine arts, but even things not related, because drawing can help a lot of people not related with pure art, so no problem with this. I would like to have like a stepped or bracketed here to from 90 degrees with a symbol here just to lock, or just active. I lock it to 90, or but this menu is really interesting because we can add a lot of features and it's really useful. And of course we can arrange as we want. So I use it a lot. For example, when I'm making this is a painting brush, but it's painting because it uses the color rate. If I disable the color rate, then I only blending. And maybe it's useful in some situations because by default Krita has this brush, which is oil brush style, and it's painting. But if you reduce the color rate, you have automatically super nice wet blender. This is something maybe you find useful, maybe not. Maybe you have another type of workflow, but I think the most interesting thing of painting for being relaxed is exploring what it makes if I change this brush tip for another one, because it uses this kind of pattern, but I have another pattern here. So if I go here and test, this maybe is not what I'm looking for. I need more straight or defined. So I have this, or maybe this, or I need something more flat. And then I go for here, and I go and I got this, and then I test on my painting and say, I like it, I don't like it. This kind of things that you that you can use a lot when doing this kind of experimentation. Okay, so I need to maybe put this a bit darker. Mm. Pum, pum, pum. Not too dark. Something like this. Not too much detail because I don't really care about detail. Maybe a bit darker here, a column or something similar. 10 minutes left. So I need to just make it's like a nice study. You have this brush also, which is one of my favorites. I did something similar for Muses back, and it's because I love how moves the paint and how we can play with this. We can create another kind of clouds, for example, more illustration clouds, and we can play with the organic movement. I don't know how to express what I am saying, but it's because you can use this with the color rate reduce a lot, and then I only blend in. If I want to remove this but keeping the lines, creating this kind of texture by the brush stroke, I think it's pretty fun. And I can go here. Maybe I am destroying this, but it doesn't really matter. It's just for fun. It's not a production image. It's a study, and I am exploring. So if you do this and you say, oh, I like the abstract shapes here. It's like a sea of clouds. What happens if I make a tree here? Not here because the scale is not correct, but maybe you can drag, as you can see, the painting. Maybe I paint this with the green, more vegetation. A bit of light, because I want to show you something. 5 minutes. Or maybe I will extend this, if you want, for a bit. So what do you think about this? I think the Digital Atelier, if I remember well, is $5, and you have all these brushes. But this is not a promotional video. Please don't understand this video as a promotional stuff. Of course, you have to understand that the programmers need need to eat something. So if you want to improve the development of Krita, this is one of the ways that you can use, just supporting the products that Krita creates. I enjoyed a lot making this, and I think I will show you the latest what? Well, I was explaining the tree effect, maybe a bit of dark, to create the mass here. And if the light is coming from here, there is a shadow. And if light is warm, I need a cool shadow. It's more like this. Another shadow here. So I have structures, and then I can start to play a bit with this thing. And I love a lot. It's like liquid paint. But this is only for, imagine you say, oh, I want to make this taller. Then, so you don't have to Control T for transform tool, and you can only move painting, and this is also a good way to create this kind of things. Okay, maybe I'm going too crazy for that. I'm going to blend this. No, I'm going to remove this because this was only an example. Maybe a tree fits very well, but not in this super bright style. Maybe it's more like this, more defined shape. It's a tree. Because we have a lot of things here, and of course I'm going to just make whoops. Just a bit of this, and as you can see, there is a lot. So if you want to make a lot faster with the same brush, not a lot faster because you are using the multi-brush, is this, and you can select, for example, to create brushes, 12 brushes with not this shape, and spreading much more, and I have this. This is only a tip if you want to experience or testing, but of course you can use a brush tip with this kind of point shape. This not because it's animated, so it's changing, but this one without features here, with the parameters active, it can create something similar to this. Tool options. So I decide which is the radius I want to use for the spreading the area covering. So I have this, and I have 12 brushes in random order. I can also rotate this, but let me show you one thing, because maybe you want, instead of translate, you can, if I remember well, adding, and you select the place of the points, and now if I go here, can you see the difference? They are following the pattern you are describing with this multi-brush. But of course you are applying a lot of different brush strokes at the same time, so don't expect a super fast brush. Okay? And as you can see here, maybe I'm going to blend this a bit with this, not too strong, bit of orange. I need darker zones here, define more this. But this is something that everybody can paint, just painting the cloud, painting the grass, and it's really relaxing. So I encourage you to paint like this. Let me drink some water. I'm reading the contents, the comments. And that is the way I do with the current workflow. Okay, so is anybody here deciding to watch the interaction of watercolor brushes is to make the new smears be possible? Well, the painting can be refined a lot, but Maybe in another time I will explain just things separately or create different tutorials for making clouds or making trees or um, but working a complete illustration, it's complicated. I would like to show you one thing just as a spoiler. Maybe it's not needed. So I'm going to use another layer and look at this. What do you think is this related to? Just wait a bit. And what do you think this is related to? Yeah, dieta, watercolor. Watercolor is really one of my favorite techniques, and replicating in Krita, it's is not really difficult when you understand how to replicate this effect and his limitations. So if you want, for example, to make a flower, and you can have this pure and bright pink, and if I press slower I get pure color, and if I press harder I get this kind of behavior, right? So you can paint. Yeah, Bessie watercolor are interesting too. So you can check the watercolors. So you can see the effect. If you want, for example, to make a boat, you can start to draw something. And this is the typical example that I do for sewing these brushes. I don't have too much time right now, but I'm going to show you just these brushes, because digital atelier is going to be not like this, but even better. The update of digital atelier, this will be like the basic of watercolor, and it's good because it's created with the full resources. Oh my god. Hi. I'm losing my voice. So let's go really fast. You can see that I can control the spread. Spread watercolor like this, even with texture. So I can apply with textures really easily the default texture. And the good thing is that I can control perfectly and easily what I'm doing while using this kind of brushes. And this is something that I think it's really interesting, to have this kind of brushes that create the effect but no effort, because I'm not using layers, I'm not using layer effects, no special effects, but the brushes, okay? And I am creating oh no, it's not the virus, it's not coronavirus. At least for now I am safe. But as I was saying, you can use this kind of brush to create, for example, this kind of effect. It's like a watercolor, or you create the shading of this, and you release the brush and start a new brush stroke, and you create something like this. Or you can add a bit of dust around this, or this kind of more for drawing particles and define these areas, or you can use this, which is tilted, as you can see in the icon, and this produces grainy effect. And remember, we are not using a pattern effect or something like this, but we are painting the ship, not like this, maybe more like this. But you can see how rough this can be, and also we can control this more precisely. For example, I'm going to make a red stripe here, and I'm going to produce from here to here and start to blend this, and as I press harder I get the effect. But if I come back to less pressure, I can back to the original color in the same brushstroke. What do you think about this kind of brushes? Because I'm really interested to get feedback about these brushes. I have people testing these brushes, because I think it's really fun to be able to paint these brushes. Are not in the fold right now, but I think it will be interesting. So I send them to Baldwin, who is the chairman. So maybe he decide to publish for free as a separate bundle or integrate bundle. I don't know, but I think he's doing a really good job keeping the order inside Krita and establishing a good roadmap. So he decides which is the better for the Krita project. Okay, my idea is it will be to publish for free, because if people start to create watercolor artwork, oh my god, this is not really interested, this painting, but you can see the effect. Overall, you can see the effect, and Digital Atelier update is going to be much better, because this is created with the full resources to see the power of Krita. But if you use the special brush tips that I design, a more interesting behaviors in Digital Atelier, if you're interested in to see the update of Digital Atelier while I'm making the Digital Atelier update, just let me know in the comments, okay? So that's the end. Okay. I know that's the end for now. It's going to take me a while to read the comments, but I'm going to just start to read a bit the comments about what do you think. Subtract layer mode on the watercolor for a brush mask tip. Yes, I use the subtract, but not subtract layer mode. Is the masked brush in the subtract node. Cool brushes. Let me check one thing, because I don't know if I have too much time. Wait a second. Okay. GD Quest here. Nathan Lobato. Welcome, man. Nathan is doing a great job for the Godot engine. So if you want to know more about the Godot engine, game engine, his is one of the best references. Sim color have mixing table, make swatches here. Okay. I don't think I'll be bothering ever to upgrade my art rage over again. Now I will be donating to Krita instead. That's the kind of comment that stimulate a lot the developers, because they see their work is appreciated, and then start to make. It's like when we are having a party. If nobody comes to our party, we at least just feel sad. But if people start to come into to our party, they that produce a very good feeling. And you speak Spanish. Sí, hablo español. Pero prefiero hablar en inglés durante estos directos, porque creo que la audiencia habla más en inglés que en español. Pero obviamente mis clases de pintura digital, la mayoría son en español. Sioni, muy buenas. ¿Qué tal? No sé el lag que tiene, pero bueno, ahora estoy hablando en español porque estoy estoy respondiendo a comentarios en español. Charlie Gamer, ¿haces algo de ilustración o eres programador? That as we have a greater layer mode as subtract grader team, it's a interesting thing. Just write about it in Krita Artist, because I do what I can with what I have available right now. But if developers add more features, be sure I will be investigating and creating more brushes with even better behaviors. Ah, dibujos de personajes, interesante. En Krita Artist puedes publicar y ahí hay gente muy buena también mostrando lo que hace. Clipping Mask, sí, Krita tiene Clipping Mask. Lo que pasa que hoy he pintado en una capa, Crisan. Porque hoy no era para enseñar cosas técnicas. Otro día podremos estar abarcando cómo utilizar el Clipping Mask. Voy a leer un poco los comentarios de arriba, porque creo que aquí hay muchísima información. Pero creo que ya lo he enseñado todo, lo que tenía que enseñar, que era un poquito, pues, cómo pintar de manera relajada, cómo tratar las nubes. I think I covered everything that I want to cover, just like painting a bit clouds, using the brushes, and change your mind and be more experimental with the brushes. I have shown you how easy it is to change the brush tip and start to play a lot with the brushes that we have already available in Krita or downloaded from third resources. Okay, thanks a lot for being here. I will read all the comments as usual, and don't miss the latest video, and you can play with the RGBA brushes. So See you next time. Bye.